we have Terry Newsom, president of the Illinois chapter of United States Parents Involved in Education. Terry, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, so my name's Terry Newsom in the suburb of Chicago. I am the Illinois chapter president of Parents Involved in Education, which is a national organization. There's 22 chapters, and I'm sure you're familiar how crazy Illinois is, right, with controlling the radical leftists. And we made an attempt to have a couple showings with other parent organizations, including TPUSA, of the documentary that we had made, Truth, Lies in American Education. And it talks about April Few. She's a mother of two, as she was exploring, I guess you could say, the horrors of public education for her children. So the documentary really shows a lot of different people from the educational industry and experts talking about the things that are going on in the school systems, of which we're all familiar with, right? The indoctrination, the sexualization, the CRT, and so forth. So I was going to have showings here 2 different times, one in Des Plaines Theater, and we were brutally attacked, threatened, and harassed, not just us, but the venue itself, to the point of which they were threatened. They were going to send bullets to them and other nasty things. So that venue was canceled. Then we went to another one on the southwest side that has had events in the past as well, and they kind of pretty much did a good job of fighting against the radical leftists, and the exact same thing happened. They were attacking, harassing, threatening, and to the point, 6 hours before the showing, the event was, the venue canceled on us. And I think one of the big problems, not just, showing, Truth, Lies in American Education, the video itself, right, that speaks against a lot of the things the leftists are trying to do to our children, but our event, I pulled in different cultures and religions. We had a Hindu Indian woman, we had a Hispanic, we had 2 African American female speakers, we had a Chinese person, and regardless of the race or religion, everyone has a love for their children, right? You want to have some input on what's being taught to the children and trying to keep this nasty material out. And I really believe, especially in Illinois, these radical leftist Democrats don't want us to bring different minority groups, different religions together, because they think they own that, and they really don't. I think parents are getting so frustrated that they're starting to unify us, even with some of the Democrats that want to stand up for their children's rights.
So that seems like a normal thing to happen for parents who, they may be Democrats, but they're certainly not on board with this kind of radical sexualization agenda, that they would necessarily say, on this particular issue, I'm siding with the people who don't want to show the kids pornographic material.
Yeah. And look, here it even gets worse than that. So our local library was having a children's drag bingo. So they hired a Boys Town, which is the north side of Chicago, a performer who promotes himself as the most raunchy, and nasty performer in the city, to come and play bingo with children in our library. And it's the same group of parents that were pushing the pornography in our schools. And, so we stood up against that. And the radical leftists got so, upset. They're attacking everyone. Parents in our area, you got to give credit to these nutjob Democrats, because they have frightened the parents from even speaking out for their own children, running for school boards. When you run for a school board, or if you speak out like me, they try to destroy me. They try to destroy me, my family. They're even calling my work, saying, I mean, it was so outrageous. They're saying I'm walking around saying anti-LGBT stuff and making fun of pride flags when they didn't even. Fortunately enough for me, I work from home. I don't even go in the office, but they'll do anything underhanded to try to get people, fired or intimidate them.
Yeah, but you should be able to say anti-LGBT stuff. You should be able to oppose the LGBT flag. You should be able to say that stuff in your private time. the idea that they could call your boss and say that and it would make a difference is actually antithetical to what freedoms we have in this country. It's just gone too far.
Oh, it has. It really has, and it's hard to be a Republican here because people have been so beaten down, right? And I'm not giving up. I mean, you know, I was put on the terrorist watch list as well. Not just the typical terrorist watch list. I have to I can't even board an airplane until they call Washington D.C. And this is all because either from when I first spoke out at the first board meeting and I got on their radar, or because I attended January 6th, of which I didn't go in, I didn't hurt anybody. I was back in my hotel room. I was with a retired police officer, Cook County Sheriff, and I was back in the hotel. We were back in the room before we even know anyone actually entered the Capitol or got past that last barrier of police. So yes, we were there. We were peacefully there. We had our flagpoles and cameras. And December 15th, I guess, I was put on this list, and my family was flying out to Phoenix. And my twins were TPOSA VIP guests, all expenses paid. And my family was pulled out of line. I couldn't actually get in the line. And they first told us that they thought there was a mistake, that my name was close to somebody else's. By the time we finally got to the gate, they closed the doors. We missed our plane because of the harassment. And one of the American Airlines agents came up to me and my family and said, he goes, you're on a list with really, really bad people. And at that point, so we went to America Fest. I'm trying to cut through. There's so much crazy stuff that went on. So at America Fest, reporter was connected by Congressman Troy Niels, who wrote Stop the Steal. And he reached out to the TSA for me because he's on the Transportation Committee to find out what's going on in this. And they basically said they back of me and I no longer meet their minimal requirements for TSA PreCheck, which is kind of odd because I've been TSA PreCheck for a long time and I'm a platinum flyer because of my job. And then they said, going forward, you will no longer have to go through the enhanced security. So I was glad on that point, but upset that I had to go through this enhanced, I lost my PreCheck, but I had to go through enhanced security. So I went to CPAC thinking I didn't have to go through the enhanced security. And sure enough, I had to go through the enhanced security, but it was even worse. They sent 5 TSA agents before I boarded the plane to D.C. and pulled me out of line and, to my airline ticket and searched me in front of everyone. They're all looking at me like I'm a terrorist. And the same thing happened on my return. And I was fortunate enough that...
I really appreciate you sharing about the TSA woes and all of that. But I wanted to get into the documentary, Truth and Lies in American Education. It says here on the website you can order a DVD, you can order them in bulk, you can watch the trailer here. You actually have it says not on my watch, now streaming. So tell us how people can actually watch the documentary.
Yeah, so if you could go to uspie.org. So U.S. Parents Involved in Education.org, and you could access through there and order. You can order it online, and I think you could digitally download it as well as an option. With respect to to the movie itself, it's finally starting to get some traction. I think timing's good because parents are getting more and more frustrated. And in the documentary, you'll see a number of different experts, including Alec Newman, talking about how the educational system and the federal government has so much control and influence on the schools, even though they pretend they don't, on what they give our children and how they expose them to. To me, in my view, I feel like we're in Hitler Youth Program of the 1930s with all this craziness that they're doing to our children. Even in my kids' school here in Illinois, if you're not aware, they put all the boys' bathrooms throughout the state of Illinois, from grammar school through college. They have tampon machines in every boy's bathroom. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, which is just absurd, and it's getting out of hand.
Well, I'm kind of
We have no
wondering why the parents are still dropping the kids off, because the state of Illinois uses the per pupil expenditure model. They average the number of children who are present at school over a 30-day period, and that's where the state and federal funds come in to each school district. So if parents took their kids out and said, oh, I'm going to homeschool them for a home semester, the funding model would literally collapse. There would not be enough money to pay teachers, and they'd have to take a listen. So you wouldn't have to go to school board meetings or get put on terror watch lists. Just take the kids out of these schools. Has that ever been considered by? Because sounds like there's a whole lot of bad things going on in these buildings.
Yeah. So yes, there's lots of parents are starting to homeschool, as well as go into charter schools. Based on our jobs and stuff, we can't homeschool ourselves. I have twins, so if I put my twins in school over here, it'll be like $36,000 a year to go to Catholic school. They're going to college in a couple of years, so it's been, for me personally, it's been crazy being a salesman and all this stuff that's been going on with COVID and trying to ramp back up. It's rather expensive to go. I don't have the luxury to afford that while trying to save for their college at the same time. But there are lots of people in Illinois. The charter schools are popping up like crazy. And lots of parents, even some that were really active, parents that had children in the grammar school who got really active and were trying to fight before they got into high school. Some of them just gave up, and they said, you know what? We're not going to waste any more time. So my kid's in D99, Sean Caston, I don't know if you know who he is. His wife ran for school board on a slate. Sean Caston's a radical congressman in our district. And now we got 3 more highly radical leftists that took the 3 open seats, and it's just only going to get worse from here on out. Sean Caston's wife ran on speaking for the voices of the unheard, voices of the minority. They got more voices than our kids do, and how they, it's a difficult challenge.
Well, I think one good thing people can do is inform themselves, and Truth and Lies in American Education is the documentary that you have. It's on DVD. It's available to stream. You can also go to the website truthandliesfilm.us and find out more. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for coming on the show to talk about everything that's been going on. Terry Newsom, president of the Illinois chapter of US PI. Thank you, sir.